Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast today. I've got Max Emma coming from California, and he is a franchise consultant. He's going to talk to us all about his journey to franchise success, businesses challenging insights, and also the his company and business books keeping. I'm really happy to have him on the show to talk about franchising. So, Max, welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Great to be here.
Yeah. Briefly introduce yourself, and I'm excited to dive into the conversation.
Sure. So, as you said, my name is Max Emma, and I run three companies, and they all are related to franchising, and it's like its own ecosystem. You can say that. My business that I've started 11, oh, now 12 years ago, called bookkeeping. We provide bookkeeping for about 98 franchise brands in the United States, such as Sport Clips, Fast Sign, Signorama, as well as some emerging brands. And then also sell my own bookkeeping franchises called Bookskeeping. That's available in 6 states now. I understand you in Texas. We have two franchisees in Texas. And then recently we realized that, hey, bookkeeping franchise is not a good fit for everybody. So recently I added franchise brokerage. That's why I help people to pick another franchise if accounting franchise is not a good match for them.
Uh-huh. Interesting. So we'll talk about the total addressable market for this this is the first time I've heard kind of this USP value proposition strategy. You know, share more about your journey from coming from the Soviet Union, and then you've become a certified franchise executive. And if people want to learn from you, what are the key lessons and why franchising and why your particular niche?
My journey it started 32 years ago when I came from the former Soviet Union without English, without really job. And so I had to start from scratch. Being an 18-year-old, it was a big change, finished 1 year of university and then moving to California. First challenge was to learn English. So I had to think outside of the box to find ways because remember, internet did not exist pretty much back then. Yes, I was going to college, but that would not give me enough English and not fast enough. So I knew that. So I had to think on the spot. And what I came up with, I was actually making calls to credit card companies around the United States. And back then, every call center was located in the US. So for 35 or 40 minutes, I had a conversation with real native speaker in English about why I can't have a credit card because obviously I did not have a credit history. So I knew that much. But nevertheless, it was 40 minutes of conversation back and forth. And finally, when they were done, I was calling another credit card. So I was getting 2 to 3 years of experience, 2 to 3 hours of experience every day talking in English over the phone, which is the hardest. And sooner than later, the English picked up. And then, of course, I found a job almost right away. That helped as well. But that was my, thinking outside of the box, how to learn English. And pretty much thinking outside of the box. That's what led one company to another. It's just not doing what everybody is doing for many years. Because for me, A, it's boring. I'm like really like, why am I doing it? I know the results I'm going to get, so it's not fun. And then secondly, it just, if I want to get better results, I probably need to find better ways of doing it and not repeating what the rest of the market is doing.
That example really resonates because the same thing. I'm always trying to look for things to do more faster, more effective, more efficient, cheaper. It reminds me of because my friend was a poker player, he's a pro poker player, but he actually learned by going online, and basically online he got more reps and he got faster learning curve, which is similar to what how you learn the language. Interesting. And then you whetted our appetites and you were in corporate finance, and then what drove you into entrepreneurship, and how did your background in finance help you in your current endeavors?
So I have to give it to my older brother. He came to the US a few years before I came with my parents, and I didn't know what major to pick. And I didn't know. He's like, why don't you consider finance? Because if you understand finance, you can pretty much can do anything. And I'm like, huh, that's an interesting idea. I never thought about it, to be honest with you. And he was absolutely right. And he still reminds me, see what I told you? I was right. I'm like, yeah, you were right. Finance gives you a background in pretty much everything because numbers is important no matter what industry you're in. Okay. You have to know your numbers. You have to understand what to do with your business. And that's why you need to have the most current information. So I was working for Qualcomm, which is still one of the biggest employers in San Diego. It was really big at a time, and CDMA technology was just picking up. And I was doing corporate finance, and I did it for about 4 years. And my joke is that I was constantly kissing the wrong butt. Okay, so I wasn't getting to where I was supposed to because I wasn't very good in this art of butt kissing. I said, you know what, I want to do and try to go on my own. So on July 3rd of 2002, it was the last day I ever worked with somebody. So July 4th of 2002, it's my own freedom day. That's when I actually just became free. So I haven't had a boss since, which has its challenges, okay? Because obviously you need to have somebody. That's why I'm part of a lot of different CEOs group and circles, but nevertheless, that was my move. Just, hey, I want the freedom. I want to build my own future. And yes, I'm ready to take the risks associated with that.
Yeah. Perfect. That again, that last statement about ass kissing and playing the game and kind of when I saying the same thing. I haven't had a boss since I was like 29, and it was just like this. I just wanted to do a good job, and all of a sudden you have to like who to play up to and maneuver and show one face to one person, show it to just. It was all just so frivolous to me, but it's very interesting. So moving on, one thing. Talking about franchising is what are some common misconceptions about franchising that you often encounter, and how do you address them with potential franchisees?
The misconception is that, look, franchising is about playbook. So it's pretty much the brand manual how to run business. And if you follow everything, then technically business should be successful. But the misconception is that it's everything is taken care of. A lot of it is still requires hard work. Okay. We're going to teach you how to fish, but you have to go and actually wake up early in the morning, figuratively speaking, and going to the pond and fishing. We're not going to do that for you, Mr. Franchisee. You really have to do it on your own. Yes, we do help with staffing. We help with clients. Being a preferred provider for 98 franchise brands, this is pretty much the source of clients for our franchisees, which is wonderful. And we're getting more franchise brands signing with bookkeeping. But nevertheless, you do have to work. You can't just sit at home, watch Netflix, and the business is going to build by itself. If you do it right in the beginning, then yes, later you might be able to. You still have to hire the general manager. And yes, you will still have to have some kind of control, but it'll give you more free time so you can concentrate on opening another business. That's the beauty of franchising, that it's scalable.
Yeah. Talk about moving the conversation forward is when you went out and did this franchise, a lot of the audience, they are in a similar situation as they're stuck or they know there's something more, but there's this fear and you went. Talk about this fear and how you managed it when it's a new area like franchising, it's a new skill and you don't have a dependable income. How do you manage that uncertainty with more like when you're taking on risk or becoming an entrepreneur?
Look, the way I'm thinking about a situation like that, what the worst can happen? If I don't try it, then I won't know if it's going to work or not. A lot of the moves that we've been doing in business, I wouldn't call them risky, but they were like thinking outside of the box, back to my nature. Hey, I'm not going to go with the streamline. I want to make it successful. Just to let you know, today, we are the only true bookkeeping franchise in the United States. There is no other competition. There are people like H&R Block that do taxes and bookkeeping, but we purposely not offering any tax services because we get a lot of referrals from CPA firms. So they probably will not be referring business to somebody who already doing taxes, who is a competition. We're not. We're just the addition to their businesses. So that was a business decision. So back when I left corporate finance and joined small family business, it was construction, and I grew it from 3 employees to about 98 employees, and it was doing really well, actually 96 employees. And then they stopped building. The recession of 2008, 2009 started, and we were overcapitalized. We had a lot of equipment, we had a lot of stuff, but no new track homes were being built. But the loans, they were all due, the payments were due every month, and we didn't have a choice but declare bankruptcy. And because it was construction, me and my wife, we had to do personal bankruptcy as well. That was scary. So starting new business is nothing. That was scary when you have nothing. You have one baby and one baby on the way, and we had to sell the house to pay everything we could. That's it. We had zero savings. Everything was gone. So we literally had to start from scratch. Speaking about fear, that was fear of unknown. And so after that, it's really hard to scare me, to be honest with you.
Really interesting. And that just solidifies your mental toughness and your mental fortitude when you've been through the fire and nothing like, and it just strengthens your resolve. You talk about your failures. How do you view failure? How do you view failure? And because the audience that are listening, they're going to try something, they may fail. Talk about it, how they should view failure in their path to freedom.
I don't know. I don't look at it this way because somebody smart taught me that never happening in life, not happening to me, but happening for me. Exactly same chain of events, but you can look at it differently. Okay. Oh yeah, it's just, of course it happens to me. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have my own helicopter, whatever it is in life. Or no, that's happening for me. What can I learn from this particular situation to grow? So I believe that every human is like an AI that is building on building. Look, ChatGPT is becoming smarter on the hourly basis pretty much because it's self-learning. So I believe the correct way of looking at it, we have to learn from past experience, okay? And I also believe that the experience is going to be continue happening until you learn from them, okay? So it's still going to be like if you are bad in relationship, you're still going to get the same type of people coming into your life until you learn a lesson and you move on out of this pattern. Otherwise, you're going to be in the same pattern all the time. I'm not psychologist, so I am sure there is a scientific explanation of that, but in my head, being an accountant and finance, this is how I just choose to, okay, I look at every situation, what can I learn from it? All right. And I'm not going back and trying to beach myself, oh, well, I could have done better. Look, the bankruptcy, if we knew our numbers right away and we would keep track, probably 6 months before we actually had to declare bankruptcy, I would see it coming. Okay. But we didn't. And now I can go back and say, I should have, I could have. No, it happened. I learned. I'm grateful for that. It taught me a huge lesson. And just to let you know, we actually came back and opened the landscaping company again, only doing maintenance. And that time we were more successful. We sold it and then started bookkeeping. So we learned from it. My initial reaction was, you know what? I'm done. I want to go find a job. I don't want to work for myself. I've tried for so many years. I guess I'm not good at it. And, that could have stopped my whole journey. I'm glad I didn't. Part of it because I had the right people talking me out of that. And second, because no jobs were available at the time because the country was in the recession. Okay. So that was the reason why maybe not. Maybe I need to do something else and start it all over again.
Yeah, interesting. In this kind of same thing that a lot of entrepreneurs say is let's just move on and learn from it. Don't dwell on it. And life is happening for you, not to you. And these patterns and recognize these patterns so that you can avoid making the same mistake, or you can repeat successful patterns to replicate or solidify your success. We're coming to the end. And one thing that was interesting is you talked about your role as a franchise broker, and if one person doesn't fit the right opportunity, you go and find them the new opportunity. What criteria do you use to match a client with the right opportunity, and how do you help them navigate the complexities of franchise ownership?
First, I wanted to mention, because some people don't realize it, our services as franchise consultants are absolutely free to the candidates, okay? We're getting paid only and only if a candidate buys a franchise and franchisor pays us the commission, okay? So if there are a lot of consultants, not a lot, but there are consultants that actually charge candidates as well on top of getting the commission. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in double dipping. I'm also investing in my candidates, talking to them. If they don't end up buying, if I'm giving them bad choices, then it's a waste of my time and nothing going to happen from it. I'm actually, because of all the experience and being the certified franchise executive, I went to school for that and finished a few years ago, and working for 98 franchise brands and being around different franchisors, I talk to them about a lot of businesses from my own experience because I've seen it. Like, I just talked somebody out of investing in dry cleaning business. Okay. And this is just my personal opinion. There is only probably one franchise that I know of that is still offering it. And I'm talking to dry cleaning that I've been going for over 20 years, and they're suffering. They're like, stuff changed for them after COVID because people were working from home. So they're not cleaning as much shorts as they used to, because a lot of it now, people became more casual. Okay. And I'm like, I would not do this business. Also, people want to buy a restaurant, and it's a good match for some people, depends on the restaurant brand you want to buy. But people need to understand that 50% of restaurants don't make it after the first year. Okay. A lot of things, when I talk to the candidates, I talk from A, my personal experience, and B, I'm asking them to tell me the story, where they see each other, where they see themselves in 3 to 5 years, what they want to achieve. Somebody told me last week, I was at a conference, that you don't have to know how to paint to own a painting franchise. If you think about it, it's absolutely correct. You, as the owner, need to understand the business part of it. And then you need to understand your weakness, and then hire somebody who can actually do the quality control. Because if you are a technical person, you're the best painter in the world, but you have zero business skills, and you're not going to hire somebody who can give you business advice, you're going to fail. You're going to do the best job, but you're going to make the estimates wrong. It's going to take you double the time. You're going to be doing a bad job on estimating. You're going to charge less and spending more time. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of it is very important. I also want to be very clear. When I say that I run 3 businesses, I have teams of people in all of the businesses. It's not just I'm moonlighting as the broker at night and then doing bookkeeping 8 to 5 and then also training my franchisee 5 to 7. I am involved in all businesses, but I do have people. I'm all about delegating. I'm all about not being on their butts all the time. And to be honest with you, Chris, this is a relatively new thing for me. I was such a bad micromanager. I was like, it was horrible. And then when I realized that's my issue and I started working on it, that's when I saw my life changing and opening new businesses and moving up in my personal career, when I stopped doing it. Because before it was just, no, I'll do it all. I'll do it all. No, I know better. You don't. And let me do it. Oh, come on. And that was the story of my life. And it was very hard to let it go, but I'm not there 100%, but I'm doing way better.
Yeah. Last, what final advice do you have for aspiring franchisees? Like, how do you know, if I were listening to this, what advice would you have for me as an aspiring franchisee? Like, how would I know it's a good fit versus something like e-commerce or real estate, and how can people find you if they want to find out more about you? Because I really love your outlook, and I think it's going to resonate with the audience.
Thank you. Thank you. To find us, it's really easy because I run 3 businesses, and instead of listing all 3 of them and giving people a spelling, there is one website that is actually pretty much is live. It's called franchisewithmax.com. Once you go to franchisewithmax.com, you'll be able to choose if you want to talk about the brokerage, if you want to talk about bookkeeping franchise, or if you need bookkeeping for one of your existing businesses, whether it's franchise or not. And we do not discriminate. We offer bookkeeping services to everybody, whether it's a franchise or not. Debit is still on the left, credit is still on the right. Okay. So it's still the same accounting. But so Franchise with Max would be where people can find us. But listen to your heart. Just listen to yourself, slow down. Numbers is huge, but keep in mind, you have to be married, quote unquote, to this franchise for a long time. Majority of the franchise agreements are 10 years. So my franchise sales organization, they always joking that the length of this agreement is longer than the first marriage that this particular person had. You really have to think, are you culturally matched with this brand? Are you interested in the service that is provided? Again, you don't have to be a painter to own a painting franchise, but if you're allergic to dogs, maybe dog grooming business is not the right business for you, okay? Because you simply cannot go in and help in your own business. So you have to look at the big picture and also see what demand is. Things are changing a lot. Pre-COVID, gyms were the hottest thing. Everybody was talking about fitness. They were opening like literally hundreds a year of new franchise fitness. It looks like everybody was doing great until they weren't. Now, the hottest things is senior care and pet services. But I can guarantee you, 2, 3 years from now, that's going to change because the market is going to be oversaturated. So again, look, do the research, talk to people like me about what's going on. We see what's going on from the inside. So I want you to succeed. I don't want you just buy a franchise and you're never going to hear from me, because I want you to come back in 2 years and buy a second location from me, okay? Or buy a business that is close to this one and you can run two of them and offering it to your current clientele. So I'm vested in your success as much as you are vested in your success. So understand that, find the right team, and just listen to your heart. That would be my advice.
Yeah, I really like that. And for the audience who are listening, Max for coming on and giving really authentic advice, and check out his socials. And again, I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much, Chris. I had a great time. Appreciate it.